No! Whoa! That was bad. I almost knocked over the camera. Let's try and retake that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going? My name's Kenshin, and this is a review, second of 3 total, well, technically 4, but we'll get into that later, reviews of the local Buffalo, Western New York, haunted houses of the Halloween 2014 season. Now, I am going to be enjoying some baked cheddar fries snack things throughout this video, so deal with it. So this is the part where I pretend to sound professional and pretend to know what I'm talking about, even though I hardly know a thing. So, about an hour ago, well, maybe less than that, half hour ago, I returned from a haunted house in the area that I've never been to, and had high expectations for. And that was Final Fear in Hamburg. Secondly, Final Fear in District of the Dead. It's 2 houses working together. And there's 6 haunts there. I believe the price was something around like $26. It's a little bit pricey, but coupon's off at Mighty Taco, so you can go get some good food, get a coupon. Now, this used to be located at the Hamburg Fairgrounds. Anyone who knows about the Erie County Fair, that's where it was. But as of late, past few years, they've moved. They're now behind the McKinley Mall, the Sears, behind the Sears, at the old Dick's Sporting Goods. And let me tell you, they make great use of that space right there. Now, I will be naming a haunt of the year next week, once I've gone through everything, because I'm going to the catacombs this Friday. So, but this was the second contender up. Frightworld, like we said last time, it's alright, but it needs to do more, man. It needs to get you in, it needs to try something different. It's been the same shit, different year. You gotta have something different if you want to stand out. Final Fear knows how to be different. Let me tell you. I went there tonight with my friend Zach. If you guys remember the Phoenix Prey Raptor video, the creepypasta I did by Subconscious Illusion, yeah, that was him. We went there, and Zach had never, ever done a haunted house before, and he was willing to go. And I was so glad to be with someone who hadn't done it before, because as we all know, I love haunted houses. So, again, there, it looked a little sketchy. It just said haunted house on the outside. I knew it was Final Fear because I had the truck that they had, but there was no big banner like Frightworld had or Catacombs. I was kind of thinking, what are we going to go in here and get stabbed or something? But it added to it. It was cool. So, get in. And now, Final Fear has something of a bit of an additional offering that I was very, very excited to experience. There's a reason there will be another video in this series to make it 4, technically. They have, aside from the 6 haunts that they have normally, there is an additional house, age-restricted, 18 and older, called Stripped Identity. Now, in that house, we've talked about it in the Frightworld video, if you guys watched that one. The idea of Stripped Identity, you gotta be 18 or older, probably gotta sign a waiver or something, but you get handcuffed or whatever it is and thrown into this house, blinded, and all manner of torture and roughhousing therein occurs. Meant to be a very visceral and brutal haunt experience, obviously within reason. They're not going to kill you, but they're going to scare you within an inch of your life. And unlike all the other houses, they can touch you, so that's something to keep in mind. You're safe in all the other ones, but in this, well, it's anyone's game. Now, on the Facebook, which is where I do follow, it does say that Final Fear tonight tonight was a Sunday night. They said tonight we have all 6 houses in addition to our 18 and older haunted house stripped identity. Now, stripped identity is an extra charge. It's $6 extra to do it. But you're guaranteed, half hour plus 40, 50 minute long experience, and it's something that you're probably not going to get anywhere else because, it's a house with balls. Now, here's the problem. There was some false advertising going on, and as a result, I was not aware that stripped identity was only active Friday and Saturday nights. It's a Sunday night right now. So I was really, really bummed. I was really super excited for stripped identity. I've been waiting for 3 years to do it, man, since they first premiered that thing, I was stoked. So, I'm not going to let that deter me. Final Fear is the farthest house from me as far as distance goes. But you know what? A half-hour drive. But you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going back next Saturday. I'm going back just for stripped identity. $6, hour-long of entertainment, go home. Maybe I'll stop by the mall. Who knows? Grab a burrito. But, next Saturday, stripped identity at Final Fear. You can expect a video then, in addition to what we're discussing now. So next weekend, I can guarantee you 2 videos. My review of the House of Horrors and Haunted Catacombs, which I'll be doing Friday night, and stripped identity, which will make its debut Saturday night. But that's as for what will be coming up. Right now we need to talk about Final Fear itself and my experiences tonight. So you already know my feelings on Frightworld. Did Final Fear do anything to change up the game? To make it different? To give me a better experience? Something that I hadn't had before? Is Final Fear Buffalo's scariest haunted attraction? Let's talk about it. First off, just know that just like the Frightworld video was and any other rant or review I do, it's unbiased, based on my experiences, personal views. And by unbiased, I mean I'm not going to give it a good review because I know someone who works there. I feel bad. I'm honest. I may have a bias because I love horror or I love certain flavors for food reviews, but I'm not taking money from anyone. I'm not doing it for anyone's sake. I do it so you guys can know and I can let my opinions be known. So just keep that in mind as we discuss. So, we started Final Fear. I let Zach choose the first house. He chose one of the District of the Dead houses. One of the biggest in the facility. Chose a little haunt by the name of Quarantined. Now, Quarantined is what it sounds like. It's meant to be sort of a massive sort of cityscape or building of sorts that you're working your way through in the midst of a zombie apocalypse. Standard fare. Standard fare. But District of the Dead stepped it up. You go in. Now, first thing that caught me. Let's compare to a point of comparison. Because that's a good place to compare things to. I think so. Do you think so? Frightworld seems caught in a decade without technology. Now hear me out. Yeah, sure, they use their strobes and their lights and their lasers and everything else. But they don't do anything to add an immersive experience to the haunt. Right away in Quarantine, at Final Fear, something was clearly different. You walk in there, one of the first rooms, you have a flickering light, like a strobing light. You have a television screen, a monitor, big monitor. It says, warning, emergency broadcast has been sent. All civilians must evacuate the city. The virus has spread, blah, blah, blah. Basically this FCC global warning that shit is fucked up. And now, again, that's not necessary, but it added to the experience, man. You know, when you're going in there, you know, you want to be immersed in the however 10-minute long experience that you'll be in there. You want to live in that world that you're experiencing. And something like that just adds to it. It makes you feel more there. Now, this was probably the biggest and longest one of them all. And you could tell because District of the Dead had previously, like 2 years ago, they did have one, a house, a park. I mean, I'm tripping over my words. They had their own park across the street from Frightworld, and they had 2 houses. It was in an old Office Depot. It was like really big. I didn't get to go, but I wanted to. Really, really big in there. So they've specialized in sort of affecting a zombie thing with big haunts with lots of detail. And so they have gone together with Final Fear and combined their ideas and have worked into something really badass. This haunt had all manner of scares coming from all different directions. Different types of monsters. Yeah, sure, you had your guys in costumes. You also had your people in makeup. You know, Frightworld seems like to stick to one thing. They like the guys in makeup. Catacombs likes the guys in costumes. This one does both. And that adds a really new dimension. Because you never know what's going to come at you. One of Frightworld's old selling points, again, back in their flying high success days in 2009 when they were on the Travel Channel, they said scares will come from everywhere. You won't know where it's coming from. You won't see it. You won't expect it. Frightworld, you see where it's coming from. Final Fear, forget it. Comes from, you have no idea where someone's coming from. Even if you think you know, you don't. Now, we said Frightworld also, people like the ability to open doors and interact with their experience. Final Fear delivers in that regard as well. Frightworld does it once or twice. Final Fear, as long as you do it constantly, you really feel a sense of progression through these houses. Especially in quarantine. Working your way through the different rooms and such. Having to open in to a place where you don't know what's on the other side. You don't know if some bloodthirsty motherfucker is going to tear the door open and scream in your face. Or if it's just going to be an empty room. You know, plenty of good scares to be had. There was one section that I loved that made very effective use of course, everyone's favorite, the chainsaw guy. It was, I let my friend Zach go ahead of me. And he opened up the door. He was just about opening it up, and the guy with the chainsaw rips the door open. He starts screaming at him. He's like, "You ruined the damn door!" And this was in the middle of the house. Usually you have the chainsaw guys at the end, okay, here we go, and they chase you out. This was in the middle of the house. This was something unexpected. And I tell you, it was priceless. Zach got frozen solid. And he didn't know what to do because this guy's firing up his chainsaw. And Zach's like, oh, oh shit. And I was right behind him. And it's in a small room. I'm like, how do we get out? How do we get out? How do we get out? Oh, God, how do we get out? I didn't know where we were going. And then I just see near the top an arrow painted on the wall pointing us where to go. And I'm like, Zach, go that way. Get us out of here. And, you start going through this really narrow corridor, twisting and turning. And this guy with the chainsaw is coming after us, banging on the walls. It was a great experience. It was something different. It was priceless to see my friend just lock up in fear. Worth it. So worth it. Another moment in there that was worth noting was that, again, unlike Frightworld, or, I don't know what Catacombs is doing this year, but I know Frightworld hasn't done anything like this. You actually just weren't walking the whole time. There were plenty of stairs. But there was also several sections. You had to crawl to get through stuff. And man, there is nothing more unsettling than crawling and feeling, the metal or the dirt, whatever it may be that you're on. Feeling yourself going underneath it, but you're in pitch black darkness. You're just feeling through. The ceiling is like right here. You're feeling your way around, trying to feel through. All you can feel is the wooden walls that, keep the area in, the ceiling and what's beneath you. You're trying to make your way through. It's pitch black. You don't know where you're going. Worst of all, you know that someone else does know where you're going. That is extreme psychological terror right there. But that was fun. That was really neat. I was very impressed by some of those sections. Like in Quarantine, where you just had your senses taken away from you and you just had to work. And then, you got to see that you went into the lab and saw where the infection had spread. Of course, they were experimenting on rats. Idiots. Don't you know that's not what you should be doing? That's how you infect a city. The scares came from very creative places. Props. After that, went to one called Restless. The Ghost of Final Fear. Oh, after that, though, we did speak with one of the owners of District of the Dead, because we were the first ones to go through Quarantined. And he wanted us to tell him what we thought of it. And man, was I impressed, and I made sure to tell him that. And if he's watching for whatever reason, still impressed. It was a very memorable, fun experience. Immersive and good. Nothing bad to say about it. He did say he was kind of pissed because there were a few actors short in the house, and I could see where he would have been saying that. But still, it was a good time. It was so fun. There was just a lot of different scares from a lot of different places. Really neat. It wasn't obvious. Frightworld just makes it too damn obvious. This thing, it kept you guessing and you never knew. It's timed perfectly. After that, we did Restless. That was a Final Fear house. When we went in there, they really worked, again, to get the experience to be a full-fledged experience for you. Unlike Frightworld! Again, I can't speak for Catacombs, but Catacombs sort of, it's a step above Frightworld, typically. But they also really haven't done much that's like stepping it up super much. They just sort of do what Frightworld does a little better. They do more, but better. Final Fear takes it in a new direction. It's fucking great. For Restless, going through the back room, go through a curtain. Even to get into the house, to get in the line. A curtain. It just says, ghosts? With a question mark. Because the story goes that house, in there, the props, have been taken from locations that were reportedly haunted. And that now it had become a manifested section full of ghosts, spirits, and demons. Furthermore, said that some actors refused to even work in there out of sheer terror. Whether this is true or not is regardless. It doesn't matter. Because when you're going into this house, they put you in this world where that is true, and that this is your reality. Now I knew this because I had been active on the Haunt's social media. But in case you hadn't, they make sure you know. You come into the area, a big back room, see the house. They actually build an exterior facade and everything. Line to go in there feels like you're in someone's front yard. Went up to the door, and the lady's punching our tickets. She tells us there are two kinds of beings, two kinds of spirits. The first is the kind that was once human, but is now a spirit. The next, the second one, the worst one, is something that was never human at all. It says that we have both inside of the house. And the third, that she didn't even want to mention but felt it was prudent to do so, the most dangerous kind, is demons. And they will also be in the house. She tells us to watch where we're going because furniture could move spontaneously and that some of the spirits do like to play games. She wishes us good luck and sends us in, but does inform us that there's a short video to watch beforehand where in the front room, monitors set up that look like they were stuck in the Windows ME era. But a big plasma screen in front of us. We step in there, and once again, Final Fear, stepping it up, even to something of technology. Frightworld doesn't do this. This thing, Final Fear, immerses you. You watch a video of some paranormal investigators inside this house prior talking to you about the props in the house. You know, some of the things. This was taken from here. This was from here. This was from here. This belonged to this person. This haunt happened because of this. All these people being from Buffalo to really work you into this. Talking to you, explaining this and that, everything else. To really make this world real. It could have just been, ooh, spooky haunted house, ooh, spooky scary skeletons. But no. They worked on it. They put you into the world. They made it real. They made it practical. And that is why, once again, Final Fear shines for me. You stepped on into the house. Of course, you have your typical creepy fare. Flickering lights, sound effects, things moving. Working our way through, seeing some creepy shit. Typical haunted house thing. Projections on the wall of spirits. Neat effects. Went into the kitchen room. Strobes and fluorescents. Two guys in there. One guy sitting there. Another guy hops up on the table and starts screaming at us, asking for our souls. I tell them that I'll gladly give them Zach's soul. Zach doesn't like the thought of this. And so he screams at the guy on top of the table in Latin. He screamed, "Out with thee, devil." I'm not sure what it is. He meant to say, "Hail Satan," but fucked it up. But it worked. The guy was on the table. He's like, did this whole acting thing, like he was having the devil torn out of him. The demon spirit inside of him was being torn out. And he fell backwards off the table and crashed into the floor and was writhing around. It was priceless. It was one of those moments that, you know, just happened because of the actor and customer, person, whatever, interaction. It was something that was unique, not scripted. It was organic, and it was cool. Continuing to go through there, I'm not gonna, of course, I couldn't describe every room and every experience because, well, it's, you know, it's too much to remember. And what's the point of me doing this review and, you know, telling you if I recommend it or not if I just tell you everything that happens? I just want to give you a little taste of everything. You know, they even work to make you feel like outside. There's a part where you gotta walk over a little pool with a big, you know, like the wheels that used to be in the grist mills. Yeah, they had that going through there and everything. You walk over a bridge over water. That's neat. And then you proceed into more, you know, dark hallways, several other things. But then what made me say, and I heard someone, one of the actors, like, almost sounded happy about it. I'm just like, I heard, yes! I just said, where Frightworld fails, Final Fear delivers. Someone was happy about that, because I heard a bang. And where I had been previously disappointed by Frightworld, if you watched the last video, you remember in Frightworld, there was one thing I really loved, which was the green laser ghost hallway, where it's one long hallway. And at the end of it, there was a guy all in black, like a ghost. And there's a green laser from behind him coming towards you, and there was fog in the hallway. You're thinking, how am I supposed to get through here? What am I going to do? This guy's blocking my way. You start walking towards him, and the guy runs at you and dashes through the wall, disappears. Well, it's because the wall is coated in a type of fabric that reflects off the light and the fog, makes it look solid, but it's not. It has its solid parts, but where he was able to slip into the wall made it look like it was nothing different. It's a fantastic effect. Even though I know it, I'm so impressed by it, and it's one of my favorite things. Purely because it's neat and it plays with your mind. Frightworld has not had this effect for several years now. They used to have it in Phobias. Awesome. Awesome. But they got rid of it. They kept a lot of other things. One of the coolest things was gone. But when Frightworld failed, Final Fear delivered. It was a long hallway. You had to sort of strafe along it and look at this black wall, and I could tell we were in for it with the green laser there. There was a guy behind the wall, and he was doing those tricks. He's sticking his hands out or his head out, seemingly coming through from nowhere. 2 or 3 times. Just really fuck with you. I was overjoyed to see that, needless to say. because Frightworld hadn't done that. It's been one of my favorite haunt effects. They did it. I was thrilled. I was very happy. It was awesome. I enjoyed the house. After that, we were walking out. I was sort of lamenting the lack of the ability to do stripped identity. I'm so excited. There was another sub-house inside. It was something that was neither Final Fear nor District of the Dead. Something different. Something unique. Something experimental. Something that wants to change the way haunted houses are done. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm speaking of is a little project done by a couple people, mainly a father and son team, called the Dark Labyrinth. Now, I was not even aware of the existence of this house. It wasn't on any of the promotional stuff. It wasn't talked about on the website or the Facebook or none of that. It took me by complete surprise. It's a shame that's not repped more, because what they're trying here is something that all haunts should take note of. Now, Final Fear is exempt from me saying that, because Final Fear does have a visceral, organic, different, first-person, customized, personal experience in stripped identity. So they do have that, but that's just considered an extra. Dark Labyrinth is trying something else. Dark Labyrinth wants to make personalized psychological horror into a whole Scream Park theme, not just a little extra thing on the side. I was talking about regretting not being able to do stripped identity, and one of the people who were working for the Dark Labyrinth handed me a little card, a little promotional thing, and on it, it said, "Prepare yourself." I have it over there, but I'm too lazy to go get it. But it says something like, "Prepare yourself for the most unique, psychological, and personal horror experience of 2015." And it had the website and had a key on it. I'm going to go to the website a little later on tonight and find out what the deal with that key is, because they seem to be talking about make sure you have your key. So I'll find out what that's about. So I was thinking it was just a little promotional thing, but then I found out they had a little house there. Now, granted that it was one room, because it was an experience. But they had that there. And for $5, you could go in and try it out. Now, me and Zach were grabbed because I was talking about how I was disappointed that I didn't get to enjoy the unique haunt that was stripped identity. And so we were sort of, seemed like interesting people who would enjoy something like this. Some people who would get their money's worth. Would be impressed by something different. Not just the kind of people who go there and say, "Oh, okay," but a thinking man's house. We were picked out as a result. Now, while we were waiting, we were being informed by the father who aided in the creation here that this was something that the son had come up with. He loved the houses. The son was the host of this house. And last year he said they did a zombie theme. This year was a carnival theme. And we all know that carnivals work great for being twisted into horror and scaring the shit out of you. Clowns are scary to begin with. Whether or not you're a Stephen King fan, you know clowns are scary as hell. Yeah, well then you read It, and then you won't get in 50 bajillion miles of a circus. I still won't do that, and that's also because I'm not allowed, because there are children there. But that's besides the point. That was a joke, by the way, you dolts, just for the concrete people in the audience. Anyways, this was something different. Something new. I says, "Alright, $5. You're promising me something different. Let's see what you got." As being explained, that was that was why the son had thought this up. He wanted something different. He felt that the Frightworld concept, the obliggy wiggy woo, was just it wasn't doing anything anymore. We're used to that. So he wanted something different, and I wanted something different. So I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to see. Let's do this. So we sit down in this room. It looks like the inside of a circus tent. Lit up and stuff. It could accommodate up to 4 people. Myself and Zach were the only 2 people in there. And the son who's thought up this whole idea was all done up in this excellent clown costume, you know, whether it was a mask or makeup, you know, it worked really well. It was creepy, and, you know, it worked, you know, his face was believable. And we sit down, and, you know, you have a carnival theme playing in the background. We're sitting, you know, like the shooter things at a carnival, the guns where you shoot at stuff, well, those are right in front of us. And we're told, don't worry about those will shoot automatically. Just point the laser pointer towards these specific targets when you see it. And then we also noticed there are a pair of headphones there. We're told to put these on because we are going to experience a 3D binaural experience, audioscape. And it was going to directly play into our experience with the house. And we would be experiencing different tactile things. We would not be touched directly by someone else, but we would be experiencing tactile things regardless. And that sound would play a big role in things. It was all experimental and psychological. And I was more than happy and excited to be a part of this experiment. So I went in, you know, have a little intro talking about what we're going to be experiencing. It's like the inside of a circus tent. It's really neat. So I'm like, all right. Then he says, okay, well, let's begin. We'd had the headphones on. Poof, pulls the lever down, lights out. And then you start hearing voices and sounds inside of these headphones. The narration comes over, and it is engineered in a way to make it feel like it's not in the headphones, but as if it's someone talking to you in the room. You know, very careful audio design. I was very impressed. And now occasionally strobes would go up, and you'd see our host, the son, you'd see the host clown, sort of, the strobes would, and you'd see him be in some really creepy pose, whether it's close to you or doing something. And the sound would complement this with sound effects, with audio, with different narration tone. And it would begin to get inside your head. For most of it, it was pitch black. The occasional strobe ups were creepy, but also served to refresh your eyes, so you could not get accustomed to the darkness. The darkness. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And it began because they realized, what are things that people are most afraid of? What are the common phobias out there? And this is why it worked so well. The first one, I think a lot of people can agree, we hate bugs. But more specifically, we hate arachnids. We hate spiders. And so that's the first thing they start talking about. You hear the narration beginning to discuss the spiders, the little creatures whose nests has infested the room. And while they're talking about this, you hear this skittering noise in your ears. And then you feel, down by your feet and your legs, you feel something crawling on you, something going back and forth by your feet and by your legs, and you feel something. Now what it was in reality was just little plastic whip pieces, you know, rubber pieces going at you like that in the air and stuff. But because you have the audio with it, you know it's not spiders, but you feel like something's crawling on you. It's like, oh, dear Lord. It's freaky. And it was good. Much like a Disney thing. You know, there are plenty of Disney shows in Disney, you know, not like a Disney on Ice thing, but a thing in Disney where they try and do that to get you in the experience. And this was of that nature. And it was so neat. More narration lights up. There was a big mom spider who came down from the ceiling. And, you know, more narration. It was when it was lights up, it was strobes, you know. And that comes out. And then you hear the hissing and it spits at you. Now what it was either like silly string or water or something, but it gets all over you. And you weren't expecting that either. And then again, a little more narration. When the lights would sometimes, the strobes would go up, the lasers would be coming out of the guns, and the idea was, you know, you'd point it at one, like the clown mouths near the bottom there, where it would be if you were playing like a shooter game in the carnival. And now I did speak to the father after the haunted house. He says the guns actually didn't do anything. It was there to all add to the experience, which I thought was a great move because it confused me. I'm thinking, am I doing anything here? You know, even the idea was you'd aim it at the thing, and in reality, if you were doing that, you know, you'd shoot at till the balloons popped. And so when we would do that, you would hear the pop, but they did have the balloons there. The pop was something you were hearing on the headphones. That wasn't something in reality. That was something pre-recorded. And what we were experiencing was a visual and audio matched show to coincide together to create a very psychological experience that was carefully timed out. Like, again, more narration. Then all of a sudden, you know, you had where people also afraid of is dolls, creepy dolls. And they played off that, you know, strobes up in the room, had a couple of them in there. You know, it's freaky. Lights down again. And then, you know, more narration, more just being this pitch black tension building. You're getting freaked out, man. What's going on? Brought the lights up. And Jeffrey, that was, I think his name was Jeffrey. Maybe? I don't know. I feel like calling him Jeffrey. Even if that's not his name. Even if it's not Jeff. We'll call him Jeff. I could be wrong. And if he's watching this, he'll probably, like, destroy me. But we'll call him Jeff anyways. He strobes up, and he fires up a chainsaw, and boom! And sticks into the table. And right before he does, the lights go down. And you hear the chainsaw grinding into the table. You feel the table vibrating. You're freaking out. You know, he's laughing. Ah! And as I learned, the chainsaw was never even on. It wasn't even the sound, and everything was all just from the audio. It wasn't even like in the houses where they fire it up and chase you with it. The chainsaw was completely off. But the headphones created the audio experience for you, make you feel like that. They just vibrated the table. And then, you know, you have more narration, more tension building. Then you hear, you know, I now release you of your fears. You are free to go. Lights up completely now. And Jeff is sitting next to Zach. And he's just like, hey, how's it going? He was sitting right next to him. The guy the master of puppets who controlled the show was just sitting there. Hey, how's it going? The perfect way to end that little experience. Well worth my $5, and if you do go, I suggest checking it out. I'm excited to see what lies ahead in the future for these guys. I really hope that they manage to find, you know, a bigger audience, and that, you know, they could eventually evolve into their own house. You know, instead of just being a little thing, a little experiment they have people try out. This is something that needs to happen. This is the future of haunted houses. Something personal, something unique, something that needs to happen. So if you do go, definitely try out Dark Labyrinth. It's only about a couple minutes of your time, $5. Help these guys out. Give them a notice. Because they got something new and they got something unique, and they're worth checking out. I was very impressed. You could see the passion and the care that was put into this show. It was very good. After that, we went ahead and paid a visit to the mine shaft. This was another district of the dead house. Now, unfortunately, they were understaffed that night in the mine shaft. Now, and also, I would have to say that the mine shaft house was probably the least memorable of all of them. I don't know, man. It was alright. It was unique, it was different, but nothing really about it. And Mike Myers was in there. I mean, I get Mike is scary, but Mike Myers doesn't belong in a fucking mine shaft. Mike Myers belongs elsewhere. The Khajiits. But, again, had its moments. That was true. But nothing like any of the other houses did have for me. It did play through on the, you know, having to crawl through some on your hands and knees. With, you know, dirt and rocks and stuff. In darkness. Immersive and cool. But, not much to say about Mineshaft. Maybe if the actors were there in more presence, it would have been more memorable. But Mineshaft was clearly the weakest of the bunch. Not bad. You know, still better than Frightworld. But compared to the 3 experiences I had just had prior, left a lot to be desired. After that, we went to the Roadside Slaughterhouse. That's your typical gore-oriented one. But once again, Final Fear stepped it up. They didn't settle for just saying, hey, here's intestines, hey, here's body parts, hey, look at someone being killed. But it's a mannequin, so it's not real. Final Fear liked to make it interesting for you. Final Fear... Mineshaft was also a dish to the Dead House. I didn't know if I mentioned that. They were going for the Purge style actors in that one who are wearing the masks and stuff like you saw in the Purge, which was sufficiently kind of creepy. But the Slaughterhouse was a Final Fear one, and again they put you into it. The guy outside he's talking about. He's like, so welcome to the roadside slaughterhouse. We have our own butchery in the store. We have any type of meats that you want. We have light meat, dark meat. And if while you're going through you'd like to donate some of your own meat, feel free to do so. We have some of the best meat you can find. The guy outside who's taking our tickets is giving us this act. Fucking great. What better way than to have the guy outside give you a little spiel to put you into the experience? Why don't these other places do that? Instead you just have someone, okay, here are your tickets. Alright, let's wait around. Okay, go on in. No, fuck that. That is how it needs to be done. Put you into this experience. Even if it's only a 5-10 minute thing you'll have. It could either be 5 minutes of, look at that. Look at that. Or it could be 5 or 10 minutes of being in a world that is not your own. Being an experience that you would never want to truly be in. But because you're inside of this simulation, oh, it's alright. We went into this house. First thing, it looks like the front office of a building. You got a computer and stuff, whatever. Nothing too assuming. Then you turn the corner, and then suddenly it's like you're being herded like cattle. You gotta crouch down and make your way through a caged hallway. Make your way through, and there's some girl who's following you along, climbing on top of it, screaming at you that you're dead. No one's gonna help you. You're dead. You hear more people screaming this. It's all over now. No way out. And then you go into a room, you see someone curled up in the corner, and they're saying, please, please save me, please save me. And then you see another guy come out covered in blood. He's got like, I forget what that machine is, but the one that they use to kill cows in a slaughterhouse, where they impale it into their head, into their brain, and instantly kill them. He's got one of those. And he takes it over to the girl on the ground, lying there, screaming for help. He says, no one's gonna save you now! No one! And then the lights go down, and you hear this psh, and you hear blood splatter out. Then when they go up, you see her laying dead on the floor in a pool of her own blood. And that was such a cool experience. He's looking at you just kind of like, yeah, you're next. That was impressive. Because in other houses, I have not seen the actors interact with each other. It's kind of always been, boo, okay, I'm going back to my place. Boo, I'm going back to my place. No, this was a playback here. It was an interaction. It was cool. Great moments to be had in this house. Different smells and scents of rotting meat, formaldehyde, blood in a lot of places. There's one section where there's even blood dripping out of a pipe. Effective use of fog and strobes. Chainsaw guys as well. Caging, guts. They were more about the practical effects. Frightworld likes to do visuals, like say, hey, here's a really cool, prop thing with intestines. This one likes to put you into it more and let you experience it. See these things, hear these things, smell these things, feel these things. Not just, ooh, that looks pretty, but don't touch. No, this was visceral. Got gory even, there was like a skin suit laying around in one place. I was impressed. Use of strobes and the sound and disorientation. Chainsaw guys at the end, classic. You need that in a slaughterhouse. Strong house, very good. After that, pay a visit to one of the unique houses they have there. Chaos in 3D, free for all. So, what do you know about 3D houses, huh? They're either hit or miss, right? They either suck or they rock. I've done a 3D house before. Haunted Catacombs, 2 years ago. Had Wicked Freak Show 3D. Basically your carnival theme sort of thing in 3D. Now, when you do 3D, you do have to have it relatively bright. Because that's how they use it. They use the 3D paint and effects. Now, I did this house twice at the Catacombs, because I went there twice 2 years ago. And it sucked. It was a very basic layout, way too goddamn bright. You could see where all the actors were going to come from. It wasn't scary. And the 3D effects weren't even all that neat either. Final Fear, on the other hand, stepped that up. See, Catacombs' 3D house was a miss. That's why it's not there anymore. Final Fear's 3D house was a hit all the way, man. Totally. You step in there, and the first thing that greets you is a hallway. 3D tape making archways. Hexagonal. I just want to say hexagonal because that sounds cool. Rectangular archways. Playing with your mind with the 3D glasses you're wearing. Now, at both ends of this long hallway are mirrors, making this hallway look near infinite. Because it looks the exact same. But you don't know which way you're supposed to go. So you're choosing, do I go this way or that way? Because both ways look like the exact same and they will go on forever. Eventually you do have to make a choice. Once you do, well, a man in a suit will greet you, bend down, the lights will go out, and then come up when the lights come up and scream in your face. Just to add you into this experience. Now once you got into the house, they were playing surprisingly a techno track. But it worked, because you felt like you were in the club, and they're like, welcome to the club. And there was one part where we were going the way we thought we had to go, and there was a monster in there. And, you know, we're like, what are we doing? And he's cheesing us, yelling at us, and we go through where we're supposed to go, and it just loops us around back to the beginning. And we're like, shit, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Yeah, well, we did what we did. The actor then opened up a door in the cage that we could never have even seen and said, this way! And why I like that, they purposely let you get disoriented, then show you the right way. I don't know. I just think that that's cool. You know, they make you think you're going one way, but then show you where you're supposed to go. That just adds into the unique creativity of it. It's not like relying on idiot-minded people to get lost. No, it makes it clear that you're supposed to go one way, but just shows you that's futile, and the monster shows you what you're supposed to do. You know, you wouldn't know it otherwise. There is a few sections like that where you come to a dead end. It says, find the exit. And you got to feel around like for that. It was like that at one point in the roadside Slaughterhouse. Where it was a completely black hallway. And we went the wrong way. It was just trapped. We couldn't feel anything. We had to go the other way to find where we were supposed to go. It's terrifying because you're not sure what's in there and if you're fucked. But the 3D one played with that a lot. There was even a Christmas section. It was beautiful. The actors in that were fun. It was fun visuals, very trippy, very bizarre. Someone even had us bark like dogs to get through, just because we were in the club. Zach gave them a good death metal growl. Very impressive. But to me, there were some wonderful, cool effects with stuff hanging from the ceiling, fucking with your head in depth. The standout effect of that, which I was glad they had, was the rotating tunnel to end it. Now, I'd only ever seen this in photos. I'd never actually gotten to experience it. But I was glad that it was still there. You're wearing your 3D glasses. This tunnel is rotating like this, like you're going through a tube. And you're on a walkway going through it. So you're going through this rotating thing here, you know, it looks like I'm miming sex or something, but that's the way it goes. And you're wearing your 3D glasses, and there's like dots all over this tunnel. It's all black, but it's got fluorescent colored, brightly colored dots. You're going through this long tunnel along this metal walkway with this thing rotating around you like a turbine. And at first it's like, oh man, that's really cool, that's trippy. But then the thing is, you start looking at the exit. And I shit you not, this seriously tripped me out. Of course, you know the exit's directly in front of you, right? But then, because you're thrown off by the illusion of the tunnel, the exit seems like it starts going this way, almost upside down. Because you're looking straight ahead, but being thrown off by this rotating tunnel, and the exit starts swaying back and forth, and you're thinking, what the hell is going on here? Am I dying? What in the fucking world? It was a beautiful illusion. I was like, clap, clap. That was, sorry, stuffy nose. That was really neat. I was very impressed. I thought it was just going to be like, oh cool, the tunnel looks cool, but no. There was actually a very trippy illusion going on with it. They did wonderful with the 3D effects to disorient you and throw you off. Good house. The last one we did was, as far as the house goes, it was interesting, but it had a great scare in it. One great scare. It was called Doll Evil. This was another District of the Dead house. It was the smallest of the lot, probably underacted at the time. You can imagine what it is. It's a doll factory you're in. And of course, everyone knows dolls are fucking creepy because of those emotionless eyes just staring at you. Play with me. I'm not going to do that to you. So, going through this thing, and you got a lot of them asking, do you want to play with me? Do you want to play dollies with me? And then when you say yes, they're like, you got your doll? You're like, I left it at home. They're like, why would you do that? I'll just take your limbs then. And they base it off of Annabelle, the new movie. Even when they enter the house, the lady calls and she's like, Annabelle, they're here! You even pass by Annabelle. She's sitting in the chair and they're like, hey, do you know who this is? It's like, is that Annabelle? That's right! They'll really get you into this thing. Not too much in the house. The actors were cool. But the house itself was just okay. Except for some at the very end. It was a big thing. It was a bigger house, bigger than Mine Shaft, I'd say, but not nearly as big as Quarantined. But with this one, we're going through a dark hallway at the very end. The dark hallways are always scary, especially if you're crawling through them. We're going, I see some sort of box contraption. I'm like, someone's hiding in there. They're going to pop out and scare you. We've been wise to their tricks. We're going into the final room. But nothing's happened. No one's popped out. We passed by it. Nothing happens. No one popped out. Nothing. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, breaking the silence, this thing turns out was an, compressed air shooter. Rapid fire. Instead of just, it's like machine gun, full auto, just going super loud, super hard. And that made me fucking jump. I wasn't expecting that because this thing was just sitting there, not doing a thing. Until it got triggered and started blowing like crazy. Loud, and you were feeling it. Oh man, that was freaky. I jumped, I yelled. Wasn't even an actor, it was just that. But hey, it was still a scare, and it still served its purpose. And that was the last house. And that was Final Fear. With District of the Dead and Dark Labyrinth. So now, we do have one more house to review from Final Fear. We do have Stripped Identity, Missing Persons. We will be going on this journey this coming Saturday. And as of course, there will be a video review of that experience. But until then, this is the Final Fear review. The other one will just be appended in a separate video as Final Fear Stripped Identity review. But that aside, because Stripped Identity is something that probably not everyone will do anyways because it's a very extreme thing. That aside, Final Fear's base thing without that very intensive haunt. That all aside, Final Fear was fucking fantastic. It was, many, many steps above Frightworld. Frightworld can fuck off. Alright? In my opinion. Frightworld doesn't know how to change it up. Frightworld doesn't know how to be original. It's the same shit, same scares. Final Fear was different. Final Fear immersed you in things. Final Fear took you somewhere. It got you into it. you know, using cages and creating sparks in addition to it. Frightworld seems as the years go by, they scale back and scale back and scale back because they feel like, what up, I'm Frightworld, you know, I've got nothing to prove. Final Fear, you can tell it's run by passionate people. They want you to care. They want you to think, hey, okay, Frightworld, everyone knows Frightworld, come see us. Come give us a try. They had the passion for horror, and it shines through. It kicks ass. Now next week, I will be naming. You know, I'll probably do it right after the stripped identity video. It'll be a separate video. But next week, Saturday, after I've experienced everything that the bigger houses of Western New York has to offer, you know, I'm talking, you know, houses aside. After I'm done with all of that, I will be naming the top haunted house of 2014 in Western New York. And Final Fear is a serious, serious contender. I have been greatly impressed by what they had on offer. I wholeheartedly recommend it. It's a fantastic and different experience for you. I'll be going to the House of Horrors and Haunted Catacombs Friday night, and I will also do a review there. But my expectation is that it will not surpass Final Fear. If it does, I will be surprised. Final Fear is the one to beat right now. We'll see what the Catacombs has to offer. But right now, Final Fear is on top. Check it out. It's worth your time. Expect the next 3 coming videos, the naming, stripped identity, and Catacombs review, in opposite order, next weekend. Expect usual content during the week. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Make sure you go to Final Fear. Make sure you check out Dark Labyrinth. Give them some time. They'll impress you. You'll like it. But ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kenshin, and I'm peacing the fuck out. Thank you for watching.